Onegaishimasu. Welcome back to the Goju Karate Center. A request from one of the viewers in the comments is, can we do a video on Sanchin Dai Ni? Let's start with the basic idea that there is a Sanchin kata, and that Sanchin kata has changed over time and has manifested itself in a couple of different ways in different organizations or different schools. The story I was told was that Sanchin Dai Ni was actually the original kind of format or template, and that after World War II, when Miyagi sensei was starting to take ill and was no longer able to move around in between the students, he changed the kata to one direction only. And for that reason, many of the people who learned the kata in the period after 1948 decided that that would be the first Sanchin kata that they would teach, where in actual fact the Sanchin kata with the turn is probably the older version, and this is the version that actually comes second. Ironically, it happens twice in Goju. Giksa Ni came first, and then Giksa Ich was an adjustment to criticisms of Giksa Ni. So a little bit of anecdotal history maybe. I'd love to know what other people's views on it is. So there are many ways of doing this kata, and depending on what your school does, you need to listen to your sensei. So as always, we go back to do what your sensei says in terms of the kata. If you want to see more about the Sanchin katas and a little bit about the breathing, the anatomy, the structure and shime, please have a look at some of our other videos. I'm going to do a kind of generic version of the kata so that you can see the ideas that happen in the kata. Okay, so firstly, on the yoi, we're going to open up and we're going to have the open yoi position. And this is a little bit weird for people who have done the rest of their katas this way. But as your hands touch, heels press out, hands come to the side. Step forward with the right leg, double block, back, punch, block. Adjust the front foot, press over, move through, tighten. Back, punch, block. Adjust the front foot, push through, stop. Back, punch, chamber, cross. Now, some people look, then step. Some people step, then look. Do what your sensei says. Some people focus heavily on the ben sukudachi or kosudachi. Turn and block. Punch, block. Adjust, step through, tighten. Back, punch, block. Adjust, step through, tighten. Back, punch, block. Adjust, step through, tighten. Back, punch, chamber, cross, step, block, punch, block, step through. This is where variations will creep in. So the general 3 steps forward, turn, 3 steps back, turn is kind of uniform. When we get to this point, some schools, 1 punch, then open, close. Some schools, block, step, punch, block. 3rd step, 1, 2, then 1, 2. So depending on the school you come from, you may do one of those 2 varieties. Sometimes you get to this point where you've done that single punch and they repeat and do the 5 punches that you see in the first Sanchin kata, and then move through to this. I only did 3. Okay. If you step forward the extra times, you will do 2 mawashiuke. If you've only turned and 1 step, then what will happen, you will do your 3 of these and then 1 mawashike. Okay, so this is the basic template of the kata that you tend to follow. Where we see variation in Sanchin Dai Ni is in what happens at the crossovers. So you will find two variations of chest block, generally speaking. I'm going to do it from this side. You will find a more short, sharp block. All right, something akin to nearly sideways, yoko uke. Or you will find something that is a little bit more circular and then round. And these are the two that I've grown up with. It's either very circular or a little bit shorter and a little bit sharper. The breathing, there can be subtle variations in the breathing. The breathing for the general kata is pretty much the same. Depending on where you come from, deep inhalation, deep exhalation, short in and out, and sometimes in and then short out afterwards. It just depends on who you train with. And again, you do what your sensei says. All right. The breathing is also many variations. So we were here, in, out, in, step, in, out, in. All right, let me do it from the side. In, out, in, step, third in, out, in. And there you can see I'm doing a hard block. Some people don't have the lung capacity, so there is a hold. So there will be, they've done the punch, in, nothing. Step, in, out, in, out. So these are the variations you will see in terms of breathing sometimes. And depending on what your lung capacity is, you would use one or the other. I like the more complicated in, because I'm constantly working on trying to improve my lung volume and my lung capacity. It might not be the exact same as the teachings of the school, but I use my Sanchin kata and my Tensho kata to help improve my lung volumes so that my lungs are stronger. And I find sometimes that the two breaths may be not working hard enough for me, and therefore I can use three. I do have an anatomical disadvantage because I blocked with my nose as a youngster, and so my septum is badly skewed, so my ability to get lots of air in is impeded by a deviated septum. So for that reason, I get away with this because my lungs cannot suck. I'm trying to suck air through a tiny little hole. I suppose if I had a normal size nasal passage or set of nasal passages, I might just stick to the double because that would work. Okay, maybe it's an anatomical reason why I do the more weird inhalation system. The general performance of the kata is something along the lines of and immediately there is some sweat. So this is the general idea of Sanchin Dai Ni. as a sequence. If you feel my kata was terrible, I appreciate that I need to do more work. I'm mortal, not superhuman. I, like everybody else, will probably need a little bit more polish, and I'm sure Sensei in Okinawa and Sensei down in Cape Town probably going to tell me, oh, this was wrong and that was wrong. And that's life. It's the criticism that allows us to make corrections, and hopefully in making corrections, we improve. If my version is different from the version you do, please just remember, you do what your sensei says, and you fit in with what your sensei is doing. And hopefully along the way, if we can see all the slight variations, we'll see the magical beauty of what is really a beautiful art called Goju Karate Do. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment. Arigatou gozaimasu. Sayonara.